Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kristen Fisher. I'm the brand manager here at Capture Higher Ed. Thanks for joining our webinar today. A few housekeeping things before we get started. All listeners, you are in listen-only mode. So if you have any questions, please type them in the question tab on the control panel. I'll be monitoring the questions throughout the webinar so we can make sure that we get those answered for you. Today our presenter is Jackie Pratt. She's the senior product manager here at Capture and knows all things CBE. So, Jackie, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and get started?
Sure, thanks, Kristen. Hi, everyone. My name is Jackie Pratt. I'm the Senior Product Manager over our Capture Behavioral Engagement product. We are going to be hosting a series of 6 different webinars here coming up within the next 5 or 6 weeks, and each person on the product team is going to be sharing a little bit more into their product, how our partners could be using it best, and maybe some new features that we are in the process of developing and have recently released. So we want to make sure that you're up to date on all this information. The next one that we're going to be hosting for CBE is going to be themed of how your admissions team can use CBE. So that will be next Tuesday on October 24th. If you haven't signed up already, let us know and we can add you to that. We are also going to be hosting an Envision webinar this Thursday with John Foster. So he's going to be hosting that on Thursday, October 19th at 2 p.m. And it'll just be going over everything Envision. So whether you already have the product or you're interested in it, be sure to attend that session. All right, so we are going to go over, for this topic of webinar, a little bit more on more prospects. So top benefits of CBE, more prospects, higher enrollment conversion rates, and saves your admissions team time and resources. So today we're going to dive a little bit more into just the more prospects section. So there are 2 ways that CBE can help you gain more prospects. One way is through our progressive identification forms. So those harvest out visitors and prospects on your site that may have not filled out a traditional inquiry form. And then the second way is Capture Prospects. So this is our new product that is up here on the horizon. So Capture Prospects are visitors who are more likely to enroll than traditional inquiries, but they just haven't raised their hand yet or filled out an inquiry form. So I'll explain a little bit more about this in just a minute. So again, more prospects. CBE can provide you with more prospects to communicate with. Again, those Capture Prospects I just mentioned, organic prospects through progressive identification form fills, and then we also have Capture landing pages available where we can put inquiry forms on that. We can either drive visitors to that by clicking on dynamic content or including those Capture landing pages in emails that we create or ones that you send out on your end. All right, so let's first talk about Capture Prospects. So what exactly are Capture Prospects? They are identified suspects in CBE who are behaving just like those that are identified inquiries. So these people are still in suspect status, but based on their behavior and based on their engagement, they're behaving just like an inquiry or even someone in an application or admitted status. So with Capture Prospects, we want you to help identify who they are, who's interested, but just hasn't raised their hand yet. So they're on your site, they haven't filled out an inquiry card, that maybe they haven't visited campus yet, or completed some other type of tangible action. However, based on their behavior, CBE knows that they're acting much like an inquiry or anyone in a different status. So kids these days really aren't all about filling out forms on the site. And so this is a way that we want to give you eyes on who's really interested in and who you can communicate with, just like your inquiries. I mean, imagine if you had about 40,000 search names and either Capture or your institution is contacting them, through email method means, but you're communicating with that whole group of 40,000 in the same way. How are you going to be able to pick out which ones are actually interested, who's on your site? With Capture Prospects, we can know that they're behaving just like inquiries, and you can set the strategy with your senior enrollment advisor and your admissions team how you want them to be contacted. And just as a reminder, CAI is the Capture Affinity Index. So as you're aware, when you're looking at some of these student profile through CBE, they have a CES and a CAI. The CES is the Capture Engagement Score, so that's their recent engagement within the past week. CAI is the measure of the visitor's total engagement over the lifetime that they've been identified in CBE. So only identified visitors can have a CAI, and the CAI is on a complete distribution from 0 to 100. So I know that's kind of a lot of information to take in and digest. Just want to pause. Does anyone have any questions at this point?
Yeah, Jackie, we did have one question. One person asked, we are doing something similar to capture prospects, but just converting suspects over to an inquiry if their CAI score is at a 20 or above. Is the capture prospect similar to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that is kind of like the first method that initially kicked off this project. So each school with capture prospects, they'll have their own CAI threshold per week. So, currently some of our partners are converting people in a suspect status over to an inquiry if they have a 20 CAI or above. With capture prospects, it's a little bit smarter. So it's something that that's been in development for the past 6 months. So each school will have their own threshold week to week on who we would flag as a capture prospect. Where, some of our partners, they're converting them at a 20 or above. Is 20 the right number? And so that is always a question that our data science team wanted to make sure, that's not really a one-size-fits-all number. So based on your institution and how each partner's inquiries are performing or behaving, that's what the threshold will be week over week. So the threshold could change. Maybe 1 week, someone that could be considered as a capture prospect would be 20 CAI, and then the next week it might be 25 or so. So we'll be recalculating each of those week over week. So this way you're converting people in a smarter way. The method that you just described right now is kind of what we've done to get started with this. But as our data science team has been developing the algorithms to complete this over the past 6 months, this will be a little bit a smarter way that you can do that. All right, and so, question is, when can you start using them? So each partner is currently receiving a CBE weekly export update file. So that's put in the report inbox, and some people have to go into their SFTP. So what we plan on doing is adding an additional field which will denote if somebody is a capture prospect or not. So we'll have another column in there, and then a different value if they're flagged as a capture prospect. So your senior enrollment advisor will be scheduling some time to talk with you a little bit more about that. We are going to be starting using this off here within the next month or so, by mid-November. So we will be finishing our testing on this. We're going to be starting using it with a couple of partners to begin with, and your senior enrollment advisor will be reaching out to you, providing you with some additional material on it, and also we'll be updating you on the additional column in the update file. So that way you're aware when it's coming, how to look for it, and how you can ingest that information into your CRM and flag someone as a capture prospect. So again, you look out for a call scheduled with your senior enrollment advisor. I know most people have weekly or bi-weekly calls scheduled, so this will be something to keep on your radar here. Any other questions on capture prospects before moving forward?
I think that's it so far.
Okay. All right, so next, another source of prospects that CBE can give you are the organic prospects from progressive identification forms. So CBE offers over 12 different ways that we can communicate with prospective students on your website in real time. So that includes like your toaster, your image swap, these progressive identification forms, triggered email, all those different types of tactics. The tactic that can provide you with some new organic leads that are on your site are the organic or the progressive ID forms. So these are short forms that ask basic information like your first name, last name, email. Could ask what kind of program they're interested in, their phone number, maybe their address. So we have a bunch of different forms, and again, these could be popped up on the site, or we can embed them. The CBE playbook has about 15 different screenshots of the forms that are currently available. We did update the playbook this month, so if you don't have the latest copy of your CBE playbook, just be sure to reach out to your senior enrollment advisor so they can send you the most up-to-date one. So with these progressive identification forms, they're automated and they're served up to visitors on your website based on their behavior pattern. When a visitor submits this form, CBE will first look to see if the information that was submitted on the form matches someone from your CRM. So when somebody fills this out, we want to make sure, is this somebody that is already in your CRM that you're communicating with? We receive weekly update files from you, so we're going to first check to see if this is a purchase name or a name that you've already been communicating with. If it can't find a match, it'll consider it an organic lead. So if the name, first name, last name, email, or any of the information entered on the form doesn't match anything from your CRM, we'll create a new organic lead for you. So again, we have about 15 different forms. Again, these are all in the CBE playbook. Across our 60 partners, we've had over 700,000 unique impressions. So that means we've served up progressive ID forms over 700,000 times, over 57,000 form submissions. So about 8% of visitors that see that form have submitted their information on it. One thing to highlight here is here in the orange where it says organic inquiries. So out of the 57,000 visitors that have submitted a form, 44,000 of them were completely organic. So they didn't match anyone that's in your CRM. It's a really powerful way to identify who's on your site and maybe like who you haven't communicated with. You know, maybe it's somebody that, you know, it's not a purchase name. You didn't find them from ACT or College Board, or maybe they haven't, you know, visited campus so you would know of them, but they are on your site and they are interested and they're looking at your university, they're looking at the admissions enrollment type pages, and they've submitted their information, so they are interested in your university. So it's a way to gather organic leads at no additional cost. So again, we do recommend at least running 1 or 2 progressive ID forms on your website at a time. We do have some partners that are running up to 4 or 5 different forms, but some partners are only running about 1 or 2. So we definitely want to recommend at least running a few of them at a time. And again, look at the playbook to have the options for the different forms that we have available. Does anyone have any questions on progressive ID forms before moving forward?
Yeah, I know we had another question came in. They want to know how they can see who's completed the progressive ID form. Is there a list that they can download? And then also, is it possible to download just the organic leads by themselves?
Sure. Yes, and actually that kind of leads into where I was going next with this. So there are 2 different areas where you can locate these in CBE. So I'm going to flip screens here and log into CBE. So once you're logged into CBE, there are 2 different places where you can locate progressive ID form submissions. So the first one that you'd want to go to is the PID forms inbox under the dashboards tab. So here will be a list of everyone that has submitted a form. Here's one that I just did the other day. Just submitted this on the Capture website. So it'll show all the information from the form, what page I actually submitted the form on, and you can download the list directly from here. So with this inbox, you can download them, and then if you're finished with it, you can also clear them out. Oops. Sorry about that. So we have that information here. And sorry, I'm not sure why that's flipping. Okay. And then next we have another area where you can download a full cumulative list. So say if you have your admissions team logging into CBE and downloading the form submissions and adding them to your CRM. So they want to like clear out their inbox just to kind of, so they're notified that they don't have any new forms in there. So now your inbox looks empty. So where can I find the cumulative list? So that is in the analytics and campaigns area. And once you're in this section, you'll click on Progressive ID. So this will give you the list of all the forms that are active and the ones that are not being used at this point. So scholarship, name, email. So and then you could select your date range for it. If you only want to download people that are organic, you can check this little button here. If you want to download the full list, just uncheck it. So if you're mainly just interested and you don't want to upload, any duplicates, or if your submitters are already in your system and you don't want to add them again, or whichever, you can just click organic prospects. You can just click that download button here, and you can see it will open up the visitors that have submitted this form here. And on this file, at the end of it here, you'll see all the form data. So this is the exact information that was entered in on the form. You can see the date submitted, all that good information there. And you can see it additionally, we are going to send you on this list everything that we know about that visitor. So if we had address information, home, if they've clicked on emails, if they've, what types of pages they've gone to, the campaign that they're in. And we actually have a list of data definitions for this too. So if you don't have that already, just contact your senior enrollment advisor. We have definitions for what each column means. So that is where you can find, actually I think we're going to go back here. Okay, so those are the two areas where you can locate your Capture Progressive ID form submissions. Next, I want to talk about another newly recent feature this year, our Capture landing pages. So with our Capture landing pages, these collect inquiry information targeting juniors or CBE campaigns. If you're just looking to collect some basic information, we can link to these pages in your emails, or if we set up a CBE campaign, like say you have a toaster set up or maybe a popover, and you want to send visitors directly to this page, we can do that. I do want to show you an example of one of our partners' pages right now. It is University of New Mexico. So in the last 2.5 months that the landing page has been running, there's been over 1,200 submissions on that form, or 1,200 impressions on that form, that so many people have visited that landing page, and 647 of them have submitted the form. So that's over a 50% conversion, which is huge compared to even just the Progressive ID forms. Progressive ID forms are about an 8% conversion rate. So with the Capture landing pages, when you're sending targeted visitors directly to that through a CBE campaign or through email marketing, we're seeing some very positive results. So I do want to show you an example of what that landing page looks like. And so here is the landing page that we built for New Mexico. And so you just ask some basic information. We do have 2 different inquiry forms available for you to use. You can use a basic one that just asks first name, last name, email, address information, and their high school graduation year. And then we have this form here that asks for the parent information as well. So just kind of depending on if you're looking to collect parent information or not, we can add that in. And then on their landing page too, it has a couple links back to their main site, a video that they wanted us to display that their marketing team had created. And obviously the landing pages are going to match the exact same style on the New Mexico website. So that's just a little bit about that. We do have 10 partners currently utilizing Capture landing pages at this point. And that kind of wraps it up there. So I just wanted to thank everyone for joining. I do want to open it up to see if anyone has any questions or comments. Kristen, did anything else?
Yeah, we had a couple more questions. One was, can you add any data fields to the form to make certain fields required?
For the Progressive ID form?
Yeah, can you add any specific fields, or can you make certain fields required?
Yeah, so currently all the fields are required in order to be submitted, the form submitted. And that's basically because the Progressive ID forms are pretty short. They're just asking basic information. And in order for CBE to identify someone, turn them from anonymous to identified, we at least need, at a minimum, first name, last name, email, and grad year. The other fields are required on it. The playbook shows you the 15 different options that we have currently. The forms aren't customizable at this point, but there's 15 different options on there. So a variety of different options you can choose. You know, some are relating to the transfer process, some are for graduate. We have some asking what kind of program they're interested in, maybe if they're interested in an adult learning. Ones that ask for start term. So we have a plethora of different options depending on whatever goal you're trying to achieve or whichever program you're using CBE for.
Okay, great. And then as far as the landing pages, a question came in wanting to know if it's the same as the Insta pages.
Yes, it is. That's correct.
Okay, great. And then one last question. We have one partner who's using a Slate CRM, and they need a date of birth in order to upload visitors who completed one of the PID forms. What can we do for that?
Yeah, actually, within this past month, we've released another Progressive ID form specifically for the Slate CRM partners. We were getting that feedback that, you know, we had a couple Progressive ID forms running for their site, but they weren't able to upload those submissions into their system. We had some partners just giving them like a generic birth date and then trying to add that information in later. We had some partners that didn't want to do that, and you know, obviously that makes sense. So we actually created a new Progressive ID form that does ask for date of birth, and it is in the updated CBE playbook. So again, contact your senior enrollment advisor to get that information, and you can see an example of what it looks like. And we've included all the minimum required fields on that form in order to be uploaded as a contact in Slate CRM.
Awesome. Well, that's all the questions that I had, Roland. I will just say a couple things. First, thanks, Jackie, for hosting this webinar today. It was awesome, very informative. And secondly, for everybody who is online, we will be sending out a recording this afternoon as well as an email with a few follow-up notes there for you. Feel free to share with your team, and also send us any questions if you need to, if there's any points that were not clear. Thanks so much for coming today. We appreciate everybody who attended. Jackie, do you have anything else before we sign off here?
That's pretty much it. If again, next week's webinar is going to be a little bit more focused on how your admissions team can use CBE. Again, this one we just wanted to update you on a couple new features that we have with the capture prospects coming up, just how to locate the Progressive ID forms inbox, and then the capture landing pages.
Fantastic. Awesome. Thanks everybody so much for coming.
All right. Thanks everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.